Hey everybody, welcome back to Black Lotus, where we talk about all things strange and unusual. And today we are going to be talking about probably one of the strangest places on earth, I think. There
Oh,
are just so
definitely.
many weird things that have happened at Skinwalker Ranch. But before we get into that, as always, I want to remind our viewers that we have a group over at Facebook called Black Lotus Discussion Group, and there we talk about all the topics that we talk about here, everything from the paranormal to UFOs and cryptids and that kind of thing. And it's a great group of people. It's not a large group. I don't remember our last count, but it's something like 265 or something
Something
like
like
that.
that.
And but the nice thing about it is that everybody gets along there. It's not like some of these other groups at Facebook where people just can't seem to get along, and so we don't have trolls there, and we
Right.
have experts in the paranormal and such. And so yeah, definitely go check us out, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to our videos. We really love to see the thumbs up. And one last thing I want to mention is, if you didn't already know, we have a brand new podcast over at PodBean, and it is called the Paranormal News Network. And it's not like this one so much. This video chat here at the YouTube. It's audio only podcast, and it focuses on paranormal news events that are going on. Everything from
Current events.
yeah, current events. So, we generally do that every Wednesday, and so definitely hook up with us there. And you can find us at paranormalnewsnetwork.podbean.com. I will drop a link for that also in the description. So, anyway, let's get into this, man. So, Skinwalker Ranch. Now, I know you did a hell of a lot of research into this.
It's amazing how much stuff has gone on at this property. It's been going on, obviously, for many, many years, but excuse me. It all started with the Indians who have actually named it Skinwalker Ranch. For those who don't know, in India, the Navajo legend is concerning the Skinwalkers is that they're malevolent witches.
Malevolent witches. Okay.
Excuse me. Got a frog in my throat now. See, I'm talking about witches. It was the Ute Indians that they believed that the whole island was or area was cursed, and they were actually forbidden to go onto that property.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they were said it was plagued with shape shifting creatures called skinwalkers. And they referred to the 400 plot acre of land as the path of the skinwalker. So, yeah, they weren't allowed to go on there according to their tribe rules. But back in 1951 is when a lot of this stuff started happening. There was a science teacher named Junior Hicks, and he spotted a large object crossing the sky in broad daylight. He was there with his students in his elementary class, so they all saw these objects floating around. He started documenting these objects, and he ended up recording at least 400 different paranormal events that happened in the Skywalker Ranch. In the 50s and 60s, there was tons of UFO sightings from this area also.
Really? Really?
But I think it really gets interesting is back in the 1990s. 1994, Terry Sherman and his wife, Gwen Sherman, purchased Skinwalker Ranch to start a cattle business. The place had been vacant for many years, and it curiously had deadbolts everywhere, on all the windows, all the doors, on both sides of the doors. Even had it on the cabinets. The kitchen cabinets had deadbolts on them.
I think if I lived there, I'd probably do the same thing.
Well, I guess if stuff keeps happening, right?
Yeah.
They also found at both ends of the house a large iron stake with heavy chains on it, like it was to keep something large and powerful animal at bay.
Okay.
So whoever had that there before seemed like they were protecting themselves from something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but back, they ended up buying the house, moving their furniture in, and actually the very first day they moved their furniture in, they started having weird events. That day, they had a large, extremely large wolf come by them, the nearby pasture, and all of a sudden it took quite interest to them and came over like it was their long-lost dog.
Really?
And allowed them to pet the wolf and everything.
Wow.
After a few minutes of petting this wolf, though, all of a sudden the wolf went over and grabbed a calf by its head and tried to drag it away.
A cat?
A calf.
Oh, a calf.
A calf, yeah, an actual bull calf. Excuse me. They took a axe handle and started beating the wolf with it, trying to get it to let go. It wouldn't let go. It was like it wasn't even phasing him. So the son went and got a 357 Magnum out of the truck and shot the wolf.
Okay.
Wolf didn't even affect it. Didn't even phase it.
Wow.
They ended up shooting it a couple of more times. He said, "Forget this," and went and got his shotgun out of the truck. So he shot it with a shotgun twice, and the wolf finally let go of the calf and just mediocrely wandered off into the forest again. So they started tracing it, and they could not find it. They were following the tracks for quite a while, and then all of a sudden the tracks just stopped, like it had vanished in thin air and just disappeared.
Really?
So they said there was many times they saw some of these very large wolves around. I think that has something to do with the cattle mutilation, some of it. But some of it's just unexplainable. I'll get to that in a bit.
It's not uncommon for wolves to be in that area.
Right. But these were extremely large, supposedly.
Yeah.
After their encounter with the unkillable wolf, I'm sure that probably freaked them out a little bit.
I would imagine.
But they started noticing other odd things, like inanimate objects flying around their home and the property. One time they went to the grocery store. Miss Sherman went there and returned home with a few bags of groceries. She unloaded all the groceries into the cabinets, went to the restroom, came back, and all the groceries were back in the bags.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Odd stuff like this is happening to them.
And that's the weird thing about Skinwalker Ranch is that there's so many different things that happen there.
Right. It's a plethora of things. It's not just one type. It's everything.
Right.
Everything from UFOs to giant wolves.
And possibly paranormal ghosts.
Everything. Yeah. They even saw lights in the middle of the night. Sometimes the pastures would light up like it was a football field. And they'd see light beams coming from the ground into the sky.
Wow.
They have no idea what was causing that. They'd hear things all the time. They would hear things like the earth moving underneath, like earth moving machinery coming from under the ground in the middle of the pasture when they'd be there working. Or they'd be there working and they'd hear voices floating up in the air like somebody was having a conversation without them.
Really?
And they could actually just hear it in the air.
So I wonder if there's some sort of electromagnetic occurrence that's going on. Like, for instance, if I wonder if it's a crossing of a ley line.
Oh, possibly.
And I wonder if maybe because of that they're picking up radio signals that are audible, just in the air.
Possibly. Possibly, but a lot of this other stuff you can't explain.
Yeah.
Like they had problems with crop circles. They had circular ice patterns and large holes in the ground that would reappear overnight. When it was taken later, they actually had hundreds of pounds of dirt move from one location to another overnight. How would that happen?
Wow. Yeah.
Back to when they owned it. Cattle. Let's go to the cattle mutilations. Now, an average rancher will lose maybe 1% of his herd. In just the first 2 years they were there, they lost 20% of their herd to cattle mutilation. Now, that's a lot. That's 14 of his 80 head. Now, one time they were driving to the property. He commented that 4 of his bulls were out there, and he said, God, if anything happened to any of those bulls, we'd be in trouble. Well, he foresaw the matter happening. He came back and cows were gone, all 4 of them. What's strange is he had a trailer. He found all 4 of the cows stuffed in there like sardines in the trailer, with the trailer locked, with the lock having cobwebs on it, like it's never been opened.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, wow.
So I'm not saying this stuff of this ranch is just
like they were just teleported there.
unbelievable, all the stuff that happens. They saw flying saucers. There was one time when he was working in the house and looked out to the pastures and saw what was a refrigerator-shaped object with a red light on the front and a white light, a red light in the back and a white light in the front. And he thought it was an RV. Okay. So he goes out there figuring that somebody had been lost and just ended up on their property, and he was going to go give them the directions to help them find their way back to this, area.
Right.
And as he approached it, the whole thing lifted up in the sky and just took off.
Wow.
So we've got UFO activity here too.
I want to get back to the cattle mutilations thing. That's something that's always plagued my mind. I don't understand why this happens.
I don't know.
I don't think anybody has a good explanation for it.
Well, like I said, they were there 2 years before they fled. The people that bought the ranch after them, they looked into the cattle mutilation because they were still having them happen. And they said that the mutilation was obviously being done by some type of sharp metal object because the lions of course, were cut so clean and stuff.
Right.
But they were able to take 40% of the mass of the cattle without leaving a drop of blood anywhere around.
I don't understand that. I really don't. I don't understand why aliens would do this kind of thing if it is aliens.
Right.
And like you said, they're always cut with surgical precision.
Right, but no blood around.
No blood. Yeah,
that's what gets me. How do you do that?
How do you do that? I don't know. I don't know if it's some sort of cauterizing effect that they have or something or other. But I just something that's always kind of fascinated me.
We're talking about flying objects. They also had a problem with spheres. Well, I don't know if you'd call it a problem, but they saw spheres floating around a lot in the property. There's 12 different incidents where they saw these large orange circles, and they were flying over the trees, and then every once in a while the orange circles would open up and more little orange circles would come out of it.
Now this family you're referring to the Shermans?
Yes.
They're the ones who they moved into the ranch knowing what was going on, and they were the ones who named it Skinwalker Ranch, weren't they?
No, the Indians had been calling it that.
No. I'm talking about the property itself. The property owners, they named the ranch.
Actually, it was named Skin Ranch before that. They actually renamed it Sherman Ranch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they renamed it after
crossed over.
So yeah, no, the Indians had been calling that Skinwalker Ranch for decades already. So they also witnessed blue orbs on the property about basketball size. In fact, in May of '96, Sherman was outside with the 3 of his cattle dogs, and he noticed these blue orbs around. Well, he sent his dogs after the orbs, and his dogs couldn't catch the orbs. But the orbs ended up taking off, and the dog takes off after them. All 3 dogs, you hear them yelping all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. Now, because of the strange situation, he didn't go until the next day to actually see what possibly happened, because he called the dogs. The dogs didn't come back home. The dogs wouldn't answer him. He said, I'm not going to go over there until the morning.
I can imagine.
And when the daylight was.
Yeah.
So he went in the daylight, and he found 3 spots of grass that had been burned. And in the middle of each spot was a greasy lump of black that like somebody had incinerated his dogs instantaneously.
Oh,
so
really?
All 3 dogs were dead.
Oh, my God. Wow.
That's about the time where they decided that it was maybe time to leave.
Time to go. Yeah.
Time to go.
Yeah.
When these things start hurting your family or your animals, it's even scarier. You don't want to be there. Excuse me. So they did. They fled the ranch. They left everything and just took off. It was quickly bought up by a Bob Bigelow. He is the owner of the Budget Suites Hotel Enterprises.
Okay. Now he's here in Las Vegas, right?
I believe so. I believe so. Yeah, this is all taking place in Utah. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Yeah.
Okay. But back in 1996, he decided he was going to buy it, and he actually turned it into the National Institute for Discovery Science. So they were looking into all this stuff and all the weird activities that were happening. Mm-hmm. Like I said, they when he bought it, he had as many instances of the same type of stuff happening that the Shermans had happened to them.
Really?
Of course, they never found any reasoning behind any of it. And a lot of the information was kept secret to himself because it was a private organization.
I see.
So it wasn't made public. But they would see bright yellow orbs. They would shoot animals that were very strange. They found one humanoid type animal that they found. They shot it. They thought they hit it. They found no blood. They couldn't find the animal, but they did find tracks of human-like footprints with very long nails.
Okay.
They had, like I said, the cattle mutilation, and they also found out that the mutilation was not slowing down, that it actually started picking up pace as they owned this ranch from when the the Shermans were there. Very strange case.
What do you think about that? What do you think about shapeshifters? Do you think that they exist? And I mean, anything from werewolves to what have you, you know?
I don't know. That's a hard one.
I think it's possible. I don't know about the probability of it, but I think it is possible, and I think that some people can do that, you know? I mean, you know that I'm a former Wiccan, and I went to this the Northwest Fall Equinox Festival way back when, and they had a circle there that was a lycanthrope circle, and you could you were encouraged to dance and try to transform yourself into the creature of your choice. And there were some people there that I witnessed that didn't actually shapeshift, but they did. I mean, it's really hard to explain. I mean, they got so into the character of the animal that they were portraying that when you looked at them, you could swear that they were a hawk or a wolf or a bear. You know, it was but you still saw the human features, but their actions just turn them into these animals. It was very strange. So I think it is possible. I think things like werewolves and that sort of thing are possible. So yeah,
interesting. I found this whole Skywalker Ranch. That's a whole other ranch.
Whole different story.
I found this whole thing, the Skinwalker Ranch, very fascinating. It's a hotbed of activity.
Oh yeah.
And no one's explained any of it.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a plethora of different stuff, and it's all different. You know, that's very strange.
I don't know. Would you go live there?
Hell no. I'd go visit it. I would be interested in visiting there and actually going at nighttime to see if I could see anything. But no, I wouldn't live there. No. We have enough issues with our own spirits in this house. I don't need that too. So. Well, what else you got? Anything?
That's it. That's about it. I mean, that's about it. There was enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a fascinating story. It really is, you know. And I know that our friend Erica Lukes has done a lot of research on this, and she's gone there and interviewed the owner and all that. And
be an interesting place to visit for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. But anyway, folks, what do you think about this? Have you looked into the Skinwalker Ranch? Let us know. Drop a comment below, and definitely, like I said, check us out over at Black Lotus Discussion Group at Facebook. And again, I'll drop the link for that in the description. And click on that and become a member. And if you've been to Skinwalker Ranch or you've had any experience with that kind of thing, let us know over there too, you know, at Facebook. So, but anyway, let's get out of here, man.
Sounds good.
Until next time, folks, keep thinking and question everything.